Hello, dear church. I'm so excited to go into our third metaphor on making disciples. And this is taught to us by Jesus. Just to recap, we've spoken about salt. We've spoken about this idea of reaching people with truth that sometimes hurts. But it's good. The world needs it. We preserve the world by being salty. We destroy disease by being salty. We create thirst, and we bring about taste to life when we are salty. We spoke about light. Light is this idea of passively making an impact. It is about being a walking Bible, for example. And I'm so excited about tonight's start on fishing. Jesus said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Fishing for men is proactive evangelism. I'll expand on that in just a moment. But the metaphor of fishing for men is perhaps the most helpful in the practical sense of evangelism. Jesus introduced the idea first when he was calling his disciples, both in Matthew chapter 4 verse 19 and Mark chapter 1 and verse 17. Both of those texts record how Jesus simply told Simon and Andrew to come follow me, and then I'll make you fishers of men. He's walking by the sea. And it's interesting to say that, and to take note that Jesus did not say, "Come follow me and I will show you how to be perfect. Come follow me and I will show you how to be holy. Come follow me and I'll show you how to worship. Come follow me and I'll show you how to build a church." That wasn't the first thing he said when he called his disciples. Jesus was always mission focused. And that was the first thing that he wanted his followers to have on their minds, fishing for men. At first, it seems quite strange that Simon and Andrew would just leave their boats, their nets, and their father behind to follow Jesus. They left everything they knew to follow Jesus. And I think we've spoken about this before, but let's just talk about it again. It has been suggested that they reacted this way, that they left everything because Jesus was a rabbi. They recognized him as a rabbi. Apparently, every Jewish boy had the desire to one day become a rabbi. Every Jewish boy is set up to go through the process of one day being a rabbi. And that's about 5 exam periods, types of exams, until they reach the age of 30. When they reach the age of 30 and they've passed every exam from the Jewish teaching perspectives, then they would be in a position where they could qualify to be a rabbi. Jesus did. That's why he was 30 years old when he started his ministry. It was also at this age that he started calling his first disciples. And that's what a rabbi would do. A rabbi, as soon as he's been sort of cleared by at least 2 witnesses, that's why we often read in the Bible, the Pharisees are saying to Jesus, "By whose authority are you saying these things?" Because when you are proclaimed a rabbi, there has to be 2 authoritative figures, 2 authoritative voices that would say, "Yes, indeed, you are a rabbi. You qualify as a rabbi." And in Jesus' instance, it was John the Baptist, and it was God himself who said from heaven, "This is my son with whom I'm well pleased," etc., etc. So we see that at the baptism of Jesus, Jesus is declared as a rabbi. And so a rabbi would then go and call his disciples that would follow him. He would train them to be like him, carry his teachings, and represent his understanding of God. Now, every Jewish boy wanted this great honor, not only of becoming a rabbi, but being called by a rabbi. And perhaps this was why they left everything to follow him. One thing is for sure, Simon and Andrew knew that following Jesus was a greater honor than having a thriving business. And I think many people can learn from that statement. And although this seems to be a likely reason or part of the reason why Simon and Andrew just left their business immediately to follow Jesus, I think that there's another aspect to the story which was only recorded by Luke. Now, Luke tells us that Jesus was preaching to a crowd by the lake of Gennesaret. He saw 2 boats. They were left there by the fishermen. The fishermen were maybe on the shore over there, and they were busy washing their nets. They've been out on the sea for the whole night. They were tired. They haven't caught anything. And then Jesus goes and he climbs into one of these boats. Perhaps the crowd was getting too close to him, but he got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and he started to teach the people from the boat. What a beautiful scene. Can you imagine it? The water is quiet. Jesus is a distance from the people. He's on the boat. These words are echoing off the water, and the people are sitting on the shore and they are listening to him. After a while, he told Simon, maybe when he took a little bit of a break from his preaching, he told Simon, let's take the boat deeper into the water and then you drop the nets. And Simon didn't really believe that he would catch anything because he was a skilled fisherman and they've been busy the whole night trying to catch fish. But he did anyway, out of respect for the rabbi in his boat, right? He caught so many fish that he had to call all of his companions to come and help him, Luke says. The text says as follows. When Simon Peter saw this, he saw the catch of fish, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord. I am a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken, and so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid." Listen to this. "From now on you will catch men." So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. That is in Luke chapter 5, verse 8 to 11. Ladies and gentlemen, these were skilled fishermen. They knew how to interpret the weather and the water in order to establish the presence of a school of fish. When Jesus identified a school of fish that they could not identify, they knew that he was special. He wasn't a fisherman. He was a carpenter. Peter knew he was in the presence of holiness. We see that in the text because the first thing he did is he referred to his sin and he fell on his knees. He knew he was dealing with God because this was a God-like act. Jesus was divine. Why would they not follow him if he performed such an amazing miracle in their presence? Jesus, the greatest fisherman, used fishing to formulate a metaphor for saving souls. These three instances in the Synoptic Gospels where the metaphor is used indicates to us that following Jesus and fishing for men, they go together. You cannot follow Jesus if you don't fish for men. And you cannot fish for men if you're not following Jesus. If you follow Jesus, you will fish. Jesus will make you a fisher of men if you take him serious and if you follow him in earnestness. Unfortunately, most Christians have not been faithful fishermen because we have been so preoccupied with other things. Consider the following parable of the fishless fisherman's fellowship.
When was the last time you had a conversation with someone specifically to win them to Christ? As Christians, we need to get into the habit of preaching the gospel to those around us. Unfortunately, many churches are filled with people who don't do much when it comes to evangelism. So come along now and hear the parable of the fishless fisherman's fellowship. The fishermen were surrounded by streams and lakes full of hungry fish. They met regularly to discuss the call to fish, the abundance of fish, and the thrill of catching fish. They got excited about fishing. Someone suggested that they needed a philosophy of fishing, so they carefully defined and redefined fishing. They also developed fishing strategies and tactics. They began research studies and attended conferences on fishing. Some traveled to faraway places to study different kinds of fish with different habits. A few even got doctorates in fishology. But no one had yet gone fishing. So a committee was formed to send out fishermen. As prospective fishing places outnumbered fishermen, the committee needed to determine priorities. A priority list of fishing places was posted on bulletin boards in all the fellowship halls, but still no one was fishing. A survey was launched to find out why. Most didn't answer the survey, but from those who did, it was discovered that some felt called to study fish, a few to furnish fishing equipment, and several to go around encouraging the fishermen. With so many important meetings, conferences, and seminars, they just simply didn't have time to fish. Now, Jake was a newcomer to the Fishermen's Fellowship. After one stirring meeting of the fellowship, he went fishing and caught a large fish. At the next meeting, he told his story and was honored for his catch. He was told that he had a special gift of fishing. He was then scheduled to speak at all the fellowship chapters and tell everyone how he did it. With all the speaking invitations and his election to the board of directors, Jake no longer had time to go fishing. But soon, he began to feel restless and empty. He longed to feel the tug on the line once again. So he canceled the speaking, he resigned from the board, and he said to a friend, "Hey, let's go fishing." That's exactly what the two of them did. And lo and behold, they caught fish. The members of the Fishermen's Fellowship were many. The fish were plentiful, but the fishermen were few. In Mark 1:17, Jesus says, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." When it comes to evangelism, are you a fisherman who doesn't fish? If that's the case, don't be afraid to follow Jesus. You can trust him. He will make you a fisher of men.
This parable illustrates so well that every Christian agrees that evangelism should happen. Everyone agrees that that is where God's heart is at. Everyone is willing to invest money into it. Everyone is excited to study the Bible about the topic. Everyone agrees that the world is lost. Everyone agrees that the Bible has the answers for this lost world. But most never do it. Most people praise the idea of making disciples, but hardly ever practice it in their daily lives. Most churches emphasize making disciples, but it is never exercised in the church's ministries. There is a massive church just around the corner here from us. It is an extremely wealthy church. And, there are lots of wealthy people there. There are lots of people that give, lots of general people, good-hearted people. And they've got this ministry where they collect food and clothes for people in need. It's a wonderful ministry. And you know what they do with the food and the clothes and things? They give it to non-profit organizations. These non-profit organizations then they take the food and the clothing and the benevolent things, they take it from the church because it's quite loaded and it's quite a mission to go spread it towards people who need it. They trust the NPOs to take it to people. And we are one of those NPOs with Theo and them, Theo's NPO. We then go and we collect some food from them. We could go collect clothing from them. We take it to a small settlement of about 100 people on the outskirts of Belito on the north coast of South Africa. We take it there every Wednesday. We take them bread, we take them food, we take them clothes. And we preach the word to them. We study the Bible with them. We've already been busy for about 3 months now. And I've told you about them. These are people from Malawi and Lesotho and from Zimbabwe. These are people in South Africa that have fled their home countries. And we're teaching them the word. And these guys have just been on fire. And we see that in the Bible. Jesus fed the people when they were hungry. He fed them 2 things. He fed them bread and fish. Okay, but he also fed them spiritual food and physical food. Okay, and we're trying to follow that example. You can't do ministry without the mission. You can't do church without the mission. You can't do Christianity without the mission. The mission is to seek and save the lost. It's part of everything that we do. And what I find shocking is that these good-hearted people from this very extremely wealthy, generous church they don't even ask if we, the NPOs, are sharing the gospel with the people that we give the food to. It seems like it's just normal for everybody. And I'm like thinking, let's say that big church was operating well and that church was really wanting to do the will of Christ. Instead of taking that food and that clothes, just giving it to NPOs to deliver it to whoever and to wherever they do it for whatever reasons. It might even be Muslims that come collect the stuff and gives it out to their own people. I mean, instead of doing that, why not ask the church, who's willing to make disciples? We've got 5 places that we've identified, 5 places where people need food. Why don't we send a team every week for 2 hours to that place to go deliver food and to go deliver the gospel message. Let me be honest with you. I don't think it even comes into the church's mind to go share the gospel with the people that they're giving food to. They rely on NPOs to distribute the food instead of setting up church members into teams to go share the food and the gospel with people in needy communities. The church is generous with money, but not with the gospel. The bulletin at the church challenges people to feed the fish, okay? But never challenge people to come and give of their time and effort to actually catch fish. For me, that is shocking. We miss the Great Commission. We feel good that we've given a bag of clothing, but we never talk to anybody about Jesus. What if we transformed ministry in that way? And we used this generous offering as an opportunity to share the gospel with people. Now, without making critical judgments on people's neglect of making disciples, let me turn the main theme of these lessons. How to make disciples. So far, we have seen that being salty is one of the ways that we could evangelize. It's being aggressive and truthful, even when it hurts people. It is when you speak the truth plainly. Being light is more about evangelizing passively. Through your deeds and behavior, you preach the gospel in ways that words cannot. Being light is less threatening. It's a less threatening way of reaching people. So what about fishing? I suggest that fishing is a strategic and proactive form of evangelism. It is when it's when you put planning into it. It's when you think carefully through about how to reach people. Jesus used this metaphor. Therefore, there must be some valuable insight for us in it. And the best way to make sense of metaphors, especially when Jesus coins them, is to go to the physical meaning before we make spiritual connotations. And so I'm going to leave this for you for this week. How do people fish? What are the principles of fishing? And I know that in Oregon, this is a big thing. It takes planning. It takes skill. It takes proactivity. That's the form of evangelism that I believe fishing teaches us. Looking forward to chat again next week. Love you guys. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye.